how why we need to implement the CMDB. Okay. So why CMDB? So basically, in nowadays, every organization have this huge infrastructure, right? Infrastructure might be a new word to some of you, or if you're familiar with, that is a very good thing. Infrastructure means all the organizations network like servers, data centers, um, everything comes into that infrastructure phase, like application services, whatever an organization is handling related to servers, data centers, applications, and application services, assets, everything comes into the term as infrastructure. Okay. So in the previous timings, I mean, like around 10 years before, or maybe 15 years before, there was no ServiceNow tool. Maybe there was tool, there was some other tool like BMC Remedy was there. I worked for IBM TADM tool, or IBM CMDB Maximo tool. There was CMDB, but even then, even only few organizations used those tools. Okay. Most of them used to have this infrastructure data in the Excels or Word documents. So when what happens is, like, when you maintain these infrastructure data like server information or database information or network devices information or any information related to infrastructure in the Word document or in the Word document, it would become very difficult to maintain and organize the data. And also it will become very difficult to know the what are the business outages made on that particular infrastructure data. So in if you have this business impact on this infrastructure data, it would be hard to find what was impacted, and it would take hours to resolve the issues as well. In the meantime, the organization would lose so much money actually. So that is why they came up with so many tools in the market. And with as I said earlier, we have so many tools in the market, like IBM Maximo, we have CMDB. When it comes to CMDB, BMC Remedy also we have, and now we have ServiceNow CMDB. And why ServiceNow CMDB? I'll tell you again. But this is the reason why we have started implementing CMDB to maintain the infrastructure data in a customized and centralized data location. We have implemented CMDB where we can easily find the configuration items and servers, data centers, network devices, cloud related things, everything in one place. That is why we have started implemented CMDB. CMDB is the abbreviation for configuration management database. It is generally a database where we store all the organization's infrastructure data. Is it clear till now, or do you have any questions? Because I know you might be having experience in ServiceNow, but you might be hearing about the words configuration items, CI servers, but why we are implementing CMDB and why do we need, what is the purpose, what is the gain if we implement the CMDB? We don't, you might not be having much knowledge on it. That is why I'm keen to know if you have any questions or if you have anything, please stop me and ask me, or else we can have 10 minutes at the end of the session. We can have the questions at that time as well. So with implementing CMDB, we can solve the business outages very soon, and we can save dollars of money. Okay, $1,000 of money actually. That is why we have started implementing. Most of the organizations started implementing CMDB to have the structural centralized database. Okay. And why ServiceNow CMDB? In the market, as I said, we have so many multiple tools we have, but why we choose, why so much? Mm, I think 90% of the current industry market is choosing ServiceNow CMDB because it is a very user friendly, and it has a very good hierarchy defining the each and unique different classes. It also it has the inbuilt discovery tool, which is ServiceNow Legacy Discovery tool. it automatically brings in the ServiceNow data and updates the CMDB regularly. So these are the top 3 or 4 things why we have to choose the ServiceNow CMDB thing. Okay. Let me check if yeah. So once you open the request instance, it will populate you that. You can click on the open instance. And please stop me even if you have questions now. No problem at all. You can query, or you can I mean, you can ask the query, or you can in the chat also you can send the messages as well, questions. Yeah. So I'll ask, please set up the personal developer instance today, and please try to activate the plugins. Here's From here, activate plugin. Click on discovery. Here, click activate plugin with demo data. Once the plugin is activated, you will get the notifications. Once it is done, you can activate the service mapping plugin and also event management plugin. If it is activated, I'll show them as well. But if not, we can see in tomorrow's class as well. Okay. Any questions till now? Yes, no, or continue? Can I go ahead?
Yeah, no questions. Yeah.
You can go ahead.
Yeah. So I'll share my screen here and it would be a little easy. So when it comes to CMDB, this is the parent class CMDB underscore CI dot list. Everything in CMDB, ServiceNow CMDB is stored in the CMDB classes. And how do you identify everything is extended like CMDB underscore CI slash is represents as a CMDB class. Okay. And this is the parent class for all the CMDB in the ServiceNow, CMDB underscore CI. So if you want to check what is the CMDB class hierarchy, you just need to go here from the navigation panel. You just click CI class manager. Click on the hierarchy and Windows Server. Yeah. So this is a Windows Server class. It extends the server class. So server is also getting extended from the computer class, and computer is getting extended from the hardware. So as I said, configuration item, it is the CMDB underscore CI under CI class. It is a parent class for all the CMDB classes in ServiceNow CMDB. And when you look into this, on the screen, it is the Windows class. And if you want to extend any class, any class from this Windows server, you can click on this extensible. What does the principal class means? If you check mark this principal class, it will limit the number of CIs which need to be populated on the incident, problem, and change tickets. For suppose, when you're trying to create the ticket, okay, I open from the create new. So here you are trying to in the organization setup, configuration item it will also be as a mandatory field, because we will be tracking how many services are getting impacted, and what is the solution provided for the business impacted service. So for that, configuration item field will also be mandatory in the most of the organizations. Okay. And here, when you are trying to create the incident in any organizations, you have to select the configuration item. But if you are trying to select the configuration item here, if you search, it will populate the parent classes CIs. Like if you see, this is the parent class, as I said, right? It will populate all the thousands, lakhs of CIs here, because it is a demo session and it is the out of the box setup from the personal developer instance. It is showing only 2000 CIs, but in an organization's perspective view, it will show all the lakhs of incidents, CIs here, whether it may be necessary or it may be not necessary. Like you will have some CIs where virtual instance CIs it is not required in the incidents and problem and changes, but even then it will populate here. Okay. To avoid such situations, there is a principal class option available for the each class. One. For example, if you select a Windows Server class as the principal class, let me select and save here. And let me try to create the incident again here. Now see, only 8 CIs have populated here because we have only selected Windows Server. CIs need to populate on this configuration item attribute. Okay. Likewise, if you want other classes information like Linux or network, whatever the principal classes you think, like Linux, Windows, network devices. When it comes to network devices, IP router, IP switches, VLAN, WAN devices, you need to select a couple of primary classes as the principal classes, so it won't be so much load on the incident form as well. Okay. Uh, I hope you
So,
got my point right. Yeah.
so if we have multiple tables like Windows Server or maybe computer hardware and all those tables set as principal class, only those tables will be used in the reference qualifier of the configuration item field, right?
Yes, yes, yeah.
So how about, I mean, if we don't use the principal class checkbox and instead modify the reference qualifier, what is suggested? Should we use this checkbox or that reference qualifier itself?
See, this is a customize. This is the out of the box solution.
Mhm.
What happens if you use the customization is it is unnecessary load on the platform itself, ServiceNow platform.
Uh-huh.
So when you get the options in the out of the box, I recommend to use the out of the box solutions only.
Okay, that's okay. Got it. Thank you.
Earlier, there was no this option was available. In the most recent releases only, they have provided this solution actually. Earlier, we used to do the customizations to provide only particular classes information on the configuration item, but later ServiceNow itself provided this solution.
Correct. That's what happens is the CMDB hierarchy is like more than 800 to 1000 tables, right? In the
Yeah,
hierarchy. So if, I mean, opening up so many class managers and then trying to make it as a principal class, that will be a bit hectic. So some people here, in order to make it simple, they go for the reference qualifiers
yeah.
directly.
So when
Mm.
this principal class is
Mhm.
most effective and useful, I would say is like you will be able you'll face few customers where they are implementing only less number of infrastructure data.
Okay.
Okay, where they don't have the cloud infrastructure, only have the on-prem, and even in the on-prem, they will be maintaining only when it comes to network devices, they will be maintaining around 5 or 6 different classes, and when it comes to the server, they would be having 5 or 6 classes like Windows, Linux, Unix, and ESX servers. So yeah, when you have less number, I would we can go ahead with the principal classes.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
So you can when you can come here on the hierarchy and you can click on the server and you can look at the all the information here. This is the basic information, and here is the attribute information of all the class Windows Server class. This is all the attribute information. Here we have around 112. Derived means this is extended from the parent class. Added means yeah, you're customizing on this Windows Server class itself. Okay. Can have server info. Yeah. This would be the customized attribute for this Windows Server class. Yeah, I would just give you the little bit of brief on identification and reconciliation rules now, but in detail we would be learning about these maybe when we try to do the discovery or in the on implementing CMDB. Okay, why we need identification and the reconciliation rules? Okay, before going ahead, there is a concept called, let me tell you, because I want to complete the introduction to CMDB. We have learned about the classes, principal class. What is downgrade CI and upgrade CI? So for suppose you have manually entering the data into, like, assume that you don't have any other source of importing the data or into the CMDB. So you have just created the CI like this. So now it is stored as a configuration item in this particular class. But if you don't want, but you know this CI is a Windows CI or the Linux CI or the network device CI. So what we need to do is, like, we need to change the class here. The process of changing this is called the downgrading or the upgrading the CI. Okay, when you downgrade the CI, when you upgrade, what is the upgraded CI? When you transfer a server class CI from server to the Windows server, it is class upgraded CI. When you downgrade the downgrade CI is means when you switch the Windows server CI to the server class, because this is the hierarchy, right? Server and the Windows server. When you move from the when you move a CI from server to Windows server, it is called the downgrade CI. And when you move this down Windows server to the server, it is called as a upgrade CI. How to move this CI? Basically, in mostly you won't be seeing such scenarios in real time scenario, because there won't be such issues won't be happening. But I just want to give you introduction on downgrade CI and upgrade CI as well. Hardware, server, Windows Server. Okay. But in real time scenarios, you won't be facing this issue because discovery automatically discovers if you are using discovery automatically discover the specific class and it would be updating in the correct class itself. And even without the discovery, when you are integrating with the third party applications, you would be clearly mentioning where to update that particular data. So in real time situations, you won't be seeing such scenarios, but just to give you a brief on what is a downgrade and upgrade, I just wanted to mention it here. Uh, what else on the CMDB? Yeah. Okay, identification rules. Why do we need identification rules? And reconciliation. When you are using the discovery, ServiceNow discovery, when you are trying to do the discovery on a particular server, to check whether the discovered server is already exist in the ServiceNow CMDB or not, we need the identification rules. So it will check with these particular properties. Like we'll go with again Windows itself. And ServiceNow out of the box provides the identification and reconciliation rules for most of the classes. But for the organization specific, if you want to modify and reclassify these identification rules, it is more than welcome actually. So when you're trying to discover a Windows server, it will check these 5, 6 identifiers on that particular discovered server to check whether the discovered devices already exist in the CMDB or not. It will check for the serial number type, product instance identifier in this particular hardware class, and serial number type in the serial number table, and again a name on the hardware table, and the MAC address and name on the network adapter. So if it finds all this attribute information in the CMDB, it will be updating the existing record. It won't if it doesn't find the serial number for the discovered server, it will try to create the new CMDB record. And also we have the order here. See 90, 100, 200 and 300. So first it will check for the product instance identifier. If it matches with the discovered device, it will update. And once it is a product instance identifier is verified, and it will check for the serial number if they have the serial number with the matching serial number or not. Likewise, it will check for all the identifiers based on the priority. Once it is once the match is found, it updates the existing CI. If the match doesn't found, it will create the new CI. We'll discuss about these identification rules in detail, and also we will create the few identifiers for specific classes, or at least we'll try to modify the existing ones in the upcoming sessions when we are trying to do the discovery. Okay, because it would be easy for you also to understand at that time. So reconciliation rules and data precedence rules also comes into the picture when you are trying to import the data through multiple data sources actually. So assume that you are trying to import the Windows Server data through discovery, and also same Windows Server data through the other import sets or the other integration. So ServiceNow might be getting confused, right? What information need to be stored in the CMDB and what need to be not stored. At that point, reconciliation and the data precedent rules comes into the picture. So here we would be defining which data sources information need to be stored in the CMDB, and which data sources information not to be stored in the CMDB. We would be discussing this in the brief in the upcoming sessions as well. We would be creating the data precedence rules and we would be giving you brief on that as well. So this is the out of the box suggested relationships provided by the ServiceNow information itself. So when you're trying to discover the Windows server, these are the suggested relationships provided by the ServiceNow, like virtualized by ESX servers, powers by these depends on service and computer, runs on applications. Okay, but if you want to create any other new relationship types, you can always create here. But mostly, as I said, when the out of the box is provided by the service now, it is the best practice to go ahead with out of the box itself. Only when you need something really good and something completely customized, only you have to create then new. Okay. CMDB health dashboard is the major and most important thing, and all the organizations will be calculating this three C's itself. Even in the interviews, most of them would be asking you about the CMDB health dashboard: completeness, compliance, and correctness. So this is from here, you need to go to the CMDB view. Here it will populate the CMDB health dashboard. So most of the organizations track CMDB completeness, CMDB compliance, CMDB correctness card. Okay. And these are the interview questions as well. What is recommended and required attributes? Why you use the compliance card, and what are the orphan CIs, duplicate CIs, and stale CIs? So we would be discussing in this also in detail. Like I'll give you on brief, like I'll just give you a brief, like how to configure this recommended and required in, we will learn in the upcoming sessions. When we want to build this dashboard completely, you can set up this dashboard in your personal developer instance, or and you can track this information as well. First, first, if you ask me what is recommended, for every class you have this mandatory attributes, right? Mandatory attributes and non-mandatory attributes. Like for example, if you open the Windows class itself, so these are the configuration provided by ServiceNow out of the box, but most of the organizations also create some custom attributes as well. So assume that here ServiceNow not provided anything as mandatory here. Okay. Um, but if you want, if your organizations definitely want to collect some information, OS or a version or OS service pack or DNS domain, maybe okay, we will consider these as the mandatory. CPU manufacturer, CPU type, CPU speed, CPU count. Consider these as the mandatory information. So here you will be tracking this information. Where is it? Yes. Yeah, in the required attribute, required means mandatory information. So it will track whether the mandatory information which we have mentioned in the CMDB hierarchy, is it collecting for all the CIs or not. It will provide the percentage for how many CIs we have collected the required information, and for how many CIs we have not collected the required information. Same goes with the recommended as well. Recommended means it is not mandatory, but we would be mentioning the attribute information, like it would be good to have this in attribute information, like I will give you. So see here required fields, right? Here, if you click on here, this is the threshold setup. Yeah, here recommended fields. You can so a required fields means mandatory fields, right? We can do the mandatory by mandatory, like UI policies also you can set up the mandatory information, but for the recommended fields from here only you have to select OS service. I'll select as OS server, OS service, OS domain. As of now, I'll select these and I'll save. And once you save this and once you run here, for not all Windows server, it will run basically. Okay. I need to select the, I need to check the schedules. Maybe by the next class, I'll check the schedules and I'll try to run this dashboards as well. Okay. So here it populates the required whatever is missing on the CIs and whatever is not missing. So from here we need to check the CIs and we need to do the modifications on the CMDB template. Same goes with duplicates, orphans, and stale CIs as well. Here we can define in the dashboard itself, we have to define everything. Here we need to set up the duplicate, orphan rules and stale rules here. So it will populate, it will give you the what are all the stale CIs available in the CMDB and what are the duplicates and what are the orphan CIs available in the CI. So I'll tell you what is orphan and what is the duplicate and what is the stale CI means when we discuss on this. And compliance is even if I tell you, even if I give you brief on this right now, you won't be able to get it. So when the time comes, I'll give you on when we are discussing about this health dashboard, I'll give you brief on this compliance thing as well. Okay. So you can implement this and you can work around on this CMDB health dashboard on your PDS as well, because this is a very important topic, because most of the organizations track CMDB health dashboard in a very serious way, because they would be tracking, auditing and monitoring everything through health dashboard itself. So till now, any questions, any queries?
Regarding this completeness, compliance, and the correctness, is there a standard out of the box fields like these fields and these should be the values for any same DB, or is it like it depends on the customer now?
So you are asking about the recommended fields right here.
Correct. So basically, when we say completeness, right, how the CMDB is complete, when we say that all the
Mm.
CIs have these fields filled in, and this is the right format, right? So is it out of the box? I mean, do we have a standard fields available, best practices available, or is it depends per customer? Some customer will have different fields, some customer will have different fields.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Mm.
let me tell you here. I have
Okay.
showed you the attribute information, right? For example,
Correct.
if you take this Windows class,
Mhm.
these are the attribute information, like around 112
Correct. Mhm.
attribute informations we have, right?
Mhm.
This is common for all all the organizations, okay?
Correct.
But depending on the organizations, they might be creating the new attributes, okay? They might be creating the new attributes, but if they're creating that new attributes, what does it mean? They definitely want to collect that information, right? They would be selecting that attributes as a mandatory, okay? If not
Correct.
mandatory, at least they would be selecting it as a recommended fields, okay? So
Right.
selecting mandatory recommended what where is it? Yeah. So selecting recommended and required is completely depends on the organization. Some
Okay. Okay.
organizations wants to mandatorily collect the OS information and OS service pack as I showed you earlier. But
Mhm.
some might think it is not necessary to have it as a mandatory. We will pick it in the recommended attributes. Okay.
Okay.
It is completely organizational view. Depends completely on the organization's perspective.
Okay. And
Same
also,
goes with orphans,
yeah.
stale, and duplicate as well. But
Oh, okay.
we'll discuss this in detail
Sure.
when we discuss about the when we are trying to set up this health dashboard. Okay.
Sure. So similar to the tables and schema, right? I mean the tables and columns
Mhm.
where we have the schema where it shows like left hand side what is I mean, what is extended and all. Sim for CMDB, do we have such a view wherein it shows what is a parent and what are the child tables and all?
CMDB schema.
Yeah.
I think we should have that. But mostly what happens is like most
Mhm.
here most of the time mostly the CMDB class manager is used actually.
Okay. Or maybe
Let
it comes in the
me
tables and column itself. If we go to I think we can select the configuration item as a single table,
Yeah, in the
and then
tables and schema only, I think we need to check if it
yeah,
would be
maybe that.
available or not.
Oh, correct, correct. Because it's always a confusion. Because sometimes suddenly a customer asks about this table, and we don't know which is the extension of it
Yeah,
or
I'll
something.
tell you that trick. I'll tell you. So you want to know like say something, say some table name that you
Correct, correct.
other than Windows like
Maybe you can just say virtual machines or somewhere suddenly, whether it's
virtual
extending
machine is again virtual machine is another thing.
correct, correct, correct.
We
So correct.
virtual
So
machine is another thing. I'll open
correct. Hmm.
IP switch. But
Okay.
if you want to check virtual machine also, we can.
Correct. I'll give an example. Like there are CMDB is a parent table. Under that comes a CMDB CI, then is the hierarchy, the tree structure. But apart from CMDB, the virtual machines and all those things are independent tables. Now the question comes, is there a no linkage or somewhere? Suddenly question customer might ask you about this table and you don't know whether it's linked to CMDB or it's a independent or somewhere.
No, everything
Yeah.
is linked
Mhm.
to CMDB. There is no such class as independent class in CMDB.
Okay.
If it is if it is a configuration item, other than the foundational data like locations, user data, groups data, it is the foundational data. It is not
Okay.
related to the CMDB anywhere. But
Okay.
whatever it is like if it is related to any server or any service or any application, it would come under CMDB tables itself.
Okay.
Why I told virtual machine is another topic because
Mhm.
when you discover there are like multiple different types of virtual machines. When you discover the Azure, it would discover virtual machines and stores in one table, and it will be different for the AWS, and also it would be different for the VMwares as well.
Got it.
So likewise, that is why I said it would be difficult for you to understand at this point. That's why I said
Yeah, sure.
if we select the IP switch, it will give you the hierarchy. See, IP switch is the child table for the network gear, and it is a child table for the hardware, and hardware is a child table of parent CMDB table. This is the hierarchy.
Okay, got it.
So not just the IP switch. If you
Mhm.
see Azure VMware, you'll see. See, these are all the VM vCenters. Okay. Watch. See, this is the EC2. This is what we say. AWS's virtual machine instance. Okay. Likewise, everything is related to configuration item main table itself.